Hi, and welcome to another installment of the Perfect Interviews Best Answer to Commonly Asked Interview Questions video series brought to you by the-perfect-interview.com. The question we're going to talk about today is the infamous Tell Us About Yourself question. I'm going to go over three main things regarding this question. The first is understanding the interviewer's agenda. Secondly, moving on to your goals and opportunities. And lastly, I'm going to talk about things to avoid. So first, starting off with the interviewer's agenda. What most interviewers are asking this tell us about yourself question, they're using this as a warm-up question, not just to warm you up, but to also warm themselves up. It's a great way to open the conversation of the interview and to get each other familiar with the other party in order to start the actual interview process. The next thing the interviewer is attempting to do is to get to know a little bit more about you. And this is not just for your professional life. They also want to know a little bit about your personal life, what hobbies you have, what things you're interested in, what drives you and what doesn't, particularly if the interviewer is going to be the person you're working with. They want to know who they're going to be working with in order to ensure that you two can get along. And that process will actually bring out some of the common goals and common interests that you have. So if your goal is to have his job, he wants to know that. If your goal is to have your own business, he wants to know that. If your goal is to do whatever, they want to know those things up front. And they also want to make sure that the goals you have are in alignment with the company's goals. Another thing the interviewer is wanting to accomplish by asking this question is also finding out how much you know about yourself and how well you can articulate things about you. And we'll get into a couple of reasons why that's so important in just a moment. So we're going to move on to the next section of your goals and opportunities regarding the interview process of Tell Us About Yourself question. All right, so moving on to the next section, we're going to talk about your goals and opportunities when it comes to answering the Tell Us About Yourself question. The first thing you want to take in consideration is that this is a good opportunity to outline your key accomplishments and the things that you value most in your career and personal life. This is very important because you want to be honest with yourself about what you want and what you desire. And this is critical for the interviewer to know, is to ensure that your goals are in alignment with the company's goals. The things you want to do is to mention things that the interviewer will be interested in. If you happen to see that the interviewer loves fishing and you enjoy fishing, you want to bring that up in the interview, that you enjoy fishing or golf or whatever other common interest you may have. And this is a great opportunity for you to find ways that you can relate to the interviewer, because again, this is especially important if the person that's interviewing you is going to be the person you're going to be working with. You want to know that the person you're working with has common interests, because you're going to be spending a lot of time with this person, and they want to know the same thing about you. They want to avoid personality conflicts, whereas you don't have to worry about, if you're a Republican and they're a Democrat, them not hiring, because obviously that's illegal. But, there are things that you want to use to your advantage, particularly when you can see that there are things of common interest. You want to utilize those things in order to gain favor with the interviewer. And just a sidebar here is you also want to open with enthusiasm. And I would say even consider that being enthusiasm / passion. Because when an interviewer sees that you're passionate about the things that you want to do, particularly working for that company, again, it puts you in a very good light and in good favor with the interviewer. Now, moving into the next section, we're going to talk about a few things to avoid. You want to avoid unplanned, meandering answers. And the reasons why is because that exposes the lack of goals and ambition. You want to be very, very clear on what your goals are and be able to articulate them very clearly, because when an interviewer sees that you are very clear on what your goals and ambitions are, they feel a lot more confident about you as an individual. You also want to avoid ums and ahs. You want to avoid this at any time in the interview, but this section, this question, is one of the most important places to avoid your ums and ahs, because, again, if the interviewer doesn't feel comfortable with your understanding of your own goals, then how would you be able to fit into the company's goals? So the next thing we're going to do is move into a sample answer, and we'll go through this very quickly because sample answers, as I've said before, are very difficult to provide because each job and each career has different things to emphasize on, and every interview will be different because every interviewer is different. But here is a sample answer you can use for the tell us about yourself question, and feel free to change this to meet your personal experience and your personality. After completing my education, whether it be master's or bachelor's or PhD at school, whatever school you attended, I started to hone my skills as a, whatever your profession is, for over 5 years or however many years. In that position, I successfully, and right here you want to list things that you did for the company, whether you cut costs, increase productivity, or whatever the case may be, and you want to mention how you did that. Moving into the second paragraph, I'm just going to take the idea of cost cutting. Since my strategic cost-cutting measures led to my promotion as whatever you were promoted to, in that capacity, I redesigned key processes to make them more efficient in terms of speed and financial return. Again, this may not apply to your position, but you want to find benefits that you have brought about for your previous company. Moving on to the next paragraph, 6 months ago, I took up course or training program, anything that you may have done, any skill training that you may have done to strengthen my skills in whatever area that is. Then next you'll want to enter any personal information that you choose to share about yourself in the interview. And that is it for this segment of the best answers to commonly asked questions. And this is sponsored by The Perfect Interview, and you can visit us at www.the-perfect-interview.com.